The disgusting habits of narcissists when they are old. Imagine an old man sitting by the window, his once vibrant appearance now faded with age, yet his arrogance and self-importance have not diminished one bit. He's still demanding admiration and attention for everyone around him, expecting his needs to be met, no matter how unreasonable or selfish. It may seem hard to believe, but this is the disturbing reality of many narcissists as they grow older. Narcissism isn't something that simply fades with age. It tends to evolve, becoming even more grotesque, toxic, and insufferable. In fact, the disgusting habits of narcissists in their later years can be even more dangerous and damaging than when they were younger. In this video, we're going to explore how narcissism manifests in the elderly. We'll uncover the subtle and not so subtle ways narcissists manipulate, control, and drain the people around them, especially those closest to them. And by the end, you'll have a better understanding of why these behaviors are so persistent and how you can protect yourself or a loved one from falling victim to them. Before we dive deep into these disturbing habits, make sure you subscribe, like, and share this video with your friends and family. This is a conversation everyone should be part of, especially if they have experienced narcissism, whether it's from a parent, grandparent, or even a caregiver. As narcissists age, their behaviors often shift in ways that can make them even more toxic and destructive than when they were younger. To understand why these habits become more prominent in old age, we need to first understand the essence of narcissism. At its core, narcissism is defined by an inflated sense of self-importance, a need for constant admiration, a lack of empathy, and a tendency to exploit others for personal gain. These characteristics, while disruptive in youth, only worsen as time goes on, often manifesting in more insidious forms as the narcissist becomes older. Narcissism in the twilight years, the evolution of toxicity. When narcissists reach old age, one of the most noticeable changes is that they can no longer rely on the same outward sources of validation. They may no longer be the charismatic professional at the top of their career, nor the physically attractive individual who draws attention wherever they go. These losses can be hard to cope with for someone who has built their identity around admiration and control. However, instead of accepting the natural process of aging, narcissists double down on their most disgusting traits in an attempt to maintain the facade of superiority. In their later years, narcissists may develop a sense of entitlement that becomes increasingly exaggerated. This sense of entitlement can lead to more extreme demands on their loved ones, as they feel they are owed care, attention, and respect simply because they have lived a long life. This is not a natural desire for dignity or comfort that many elderly people seek, but rather an expectation rooted in narcissistic self-absorption. For example, elderly narcissists often exhibit manipulative behaviors in subtle and not so subtle ways. They may guilt-trip family members into providing more than they can afford or sacrifice their own needs for the narcissist's comfort. They may demand constant attention or assert their wishes without regard for others' needs or preferences. This manipulation can be particularly effective when the narcissist uses their frailty or advanced age to make others feel guilty for not giving in to their demands. The habit of emotional blackmail. One of the most disturbing habits that surfaces in elderly narcissists is emotional blackmail. As their health declines, narcissists may feel more vulnerable and powerless, but instead of accepting their vulnerability with grace, they resort to manipulative tactics to regain control. This often takes the form of guilt-tripping, threatening to withdraw affection, or using their health as a way to get others to cater to their whims. Imagine a narcissist who has spent their life emotionally abusing their children, now turning around and accusing them of being neglectful simply because they can't drop everything to provide care at the drop of a hat. These elderly narcissists often paint themselves as the victim, even if they were emotionally abusive or neglectful throughout their lives. The goal is to make others feel guilty enough to provide whatever attention or resources the narcissist demands. This emotional manipulation can be especially harmful to younger generations who feel a sense of duty to care for their aging parents or grandparents. It creates a toxic dynamic where the narcissist is constantly seeking to drain emotional resources, while the caregiver is left feeling drained, resentful, and powerless. Narcissistic rage in old age. Another dangerous habit that often intensifies with age is narcissistic rage. Narcissists, regardless of age, have a fragile sense of self-esteem. They cannot handle any form of criticism, rejection, or perceived threat to their self-image. In their later years, as they face the reality of aging and physical decline, their insecurities grow even more pronounced. The slightest affront, whether real or imagined, can trigger an explosive outburst of rage. At this stage, the narcissist may not have the same energy or social influence to project their rage outward in public or at work, but they often turn this wrath on their closest family members. The people who are supposed to provide care and comfort become the targets of their verbal abuse, intimidation, and resentment. A narcissist in their senior years might throw tantrums over seemingly trivial matters, such as not getting their preferred meal or having to wait a few minutes longer for help. These outbursts can be jarring, especially for younger family members who may have never seen the narcissist in such a vulnerable yet volatile state. The elderly narcissist may not even be aware of how out of control they are, but that doesn't make the damage they cause any less real. Lack of gratitude and constant demands. While many elderly individuals grow more reflective and appreciative of the life they've lived, narcissists often do the opposite. Instead of looking back with gratitude, they see themselves as entitled to even more. The elderly narcissist will often expect everyone around them to bow down to their whims, even if they haven't contributed much to the family or society in their later years. This lack of gratitude can be especially painful for family members who have spent years caring for them. Narcissists in old age don't see the sacrifices made by others. They see those sacrifices as owed to them. And if anyone dares to express frustration or exhaustion from caregiving, the narcissist will immediately turn the situation around to make them feel guilty. As they age, narcissists may isolate themselves from others, but not because they are seeking solitude. Instead, they prefer to keep their inner circle small, so they can control and manipulate it more effectively. They may cut off family members who do not comply with their demands, or who dare to challenge their sense of entitlement. The isolation may also be used to ensure that they remain the center of attention, drawing in the few remaining people who will give them the time and energy they crave. Covert manipulation, gaslighting, and lies. While the overt manipulative tactics of narcissists might become harder to maintain with age, the covert manipulation techniques often become more sophisticated. One of the most insidious of these is gaslighting. Gaslighting is when a narcissist manipulates someone into doubting their own perception of reality. In old age, narcissists may engage in gaslighting more frequently, especially with family members who are providing them care. For instance, an elderly narcissist might tell a caregiver that they didn't provide the care they promised, even if that isn't true. They might deny previous conversations or promises, making the caregiver question their own memory. This tactic allows the narcissist to maintain control while simultaneously ensuring that the caregiver remains off balance, unable to confront or challenge the narcissist's delusions. The relentless need for control. Even as their health deteriorates, a narcissist's need for control remains as strong as ever. In fact, it may intensify. The elderly narcissist may try to control every aspect of their environment, from the layout of their home to the people they interact with. They may make life miserable for caregivers by dictating every small detail, demanding that things be done exactly their way. If they don't get what they want, they may resort to further manipulation or even sabotage the efforts of others. The narcissist's need to control may extend to family dynamics as well. They may attempt to pit family members against one another, sowing discord and rivalry, all for the sake of keeping the attention on themselves. This behavior is driven by the deep-seated fear that, without control, they are nothing. Why these habits are so destructive? It's easy to dismiss the habits of elderly narcissists as simply the result of age or declining mental health. But these behaviors are not just harmless quirks. They are toxic patterns that have been nurtured